Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well today. This time we're going to be wrapping up the Rushing Beat series, which was a series of beat 'em ups that Jalico released and pretty much butchered when they brought over to North America. The plots for these games had been completely removed or altered just to make them seem like they're standalone games. But they weren't. They were supposed to be part of a series. Anyway, let's get into it. There is actually a story in this game, which is more than what I can say about Brawl Brothers and Rival Turf. The North American story is odd, to say the least. It occurs in a dystopian future where there's an evil corporation which rules the world, and there's some weird cloning and genetic experiments going on. Yeah, it's odd, but it isn't anything that would really be out of the norm for any other beat 'em up from this period. There are 4 playable characters. They've all had their lives affected by this evil corporation in some way. There was some genetic testing that was going on, and they kind of want to bring this corporation down. The bosses that you fight are either test subjects or being blackmailed by someone, or they're just terrible people. It is kind of interesting to see how this all works out, but it's a very odd story, even if it is one that still feels kind of familiar to me. The game has multiple paths and also different endings, which is pretty cool because it gives you a reason to keep going back and playing this game. Much like the other 2 games, I find it odd that the story was changed, but at least there is a story in this game, and it's kind of cool that it's there, and I would really like to know how it tied into what the story was for the other 2 Rushing Beat series, or the other 2 Rushing Beat games. It's just so weird. I could go on forever about how strange it is that Jalico did what they did with these 3 games, but I'm sure someone else has done that. The thing is, you won't know what's going on unless you watch the game's introduction video. The story is kind of explained during the game, but you really need to have watched that intro video to really understand what the hell is happening. It's weird, but it is kind of fun that it's there and that the developers tried to give them like this long explanation of, okay, here are all the main characters, this is why they're doing what they're doing, and all of this other stuff. Please keep playing the game, essentially. I really do love it, but yeah, it's so weird that this is the 3rd game in the series, but none of them really feel connected. There are characters that are in all 3 of the games, but their names are all different in each game. So there's very little continuity between them. Long story short, which I'm sure I've already given you the long version, this game was butchered by its localization team and also by Jalico itself. Yeah, that's probably the best way that I can put it. Peacekeepers is a straightforward beat 'em up. You're moving left to right, you have to defeat a group of enemies before you can move on. You've got a pretty big life bar, and special attacks are going to consume a small amount of your life. While I don't like that, I understand that's probably the best way that they could have thought of at the time. Not everybody has just different items like Golden Axe that build up your special attacks along the way. You do have unlimited continues, which is really awesome. I love it when a game just does that and kind of respects the player and isn't going to force you into being amazing right when you start playing it, because you can get frustrated and just say, screw it, I don't want to keep playing. So having unlimited continues is great. You're not in the arcades, you're not trying to drain quarters into this machine to beat it. You're just at home with your buddies trying to get through this whole thing. However, there is a drawback to that. You only have 1 life per continue, which is kind of annoying. I don't like it that way, but I guess I would rather have unlimited continues than having 3 lives for each player. So, yeah, there's that. Once you die, you can select a new player, and in between the levels, you can also select a new player as well. So, hey, that's pretty cool. So when I initially wrote this, I was wrong when I said that there were only 4 playable characters. There's actually 6. There are 2 playable characters that I did not know about until I started looking up more information on this game. This is a pretty hard beat 'em up. Enemies are going to grab you with ease and toss you around. The bosses are also a little bit more challenging than in other games that I've played. They do have patterns, but it takes some time to really get used to it. I like the gameplay in the Peacekeepers a lot. I like it more than some of the other beat-em-ups that I've played, and I like this one a lot more than Rival Turf and Brawl Brothers. This game looks great. It is one of the better looking beat-em-ups that I've played. The characters are really well detailed, the stages all look great. There are a few cutscenes in the game that look pretty good. I really love the way that they do it. The character animations are great. However, the special attacks are a bit lacking. While the basic attacks and the jump attacks are all really good looking, the special attacks really aren't anything special, really. Most of them just look like a basic attack. It's a little disappointing. There's a chance that I might have missed some of the specials in this, or maybe I'm not doing all of them. That was a possibility, but they just kind of look like basic attacks to me. The stages are chopped up into smaller sections. You can also go in a few directions, which are pretty easy to see on the stage. The stage hazards were, for the most part, relatively easy to see once you know that they're there. I mean, they're flashing lights on the first stage, which I should have realized are bad, but I didn't right away and ended up landing on a few mines. Not afraid to admit that I'm kind of dumb when it comes to that sort of thing. I do like the graphics in this game an awful lot. It looks like what you should expect from a game released in 1994. It looks really good. Everything is awesome in this game. I just love the graphics. For me, this was the best game in the Rushing Beat series, at least the version of the series that we got in North America. The 3 games are very disconnected here. It makes me wonder really why they did this. Each game plays basically the same, but the Peacekeepers feels like it's just the more polished game and a lot better. The Peacekeepers was more fun to play than the other 2, even though it isn't as good as some of the other games that I've played, like Streets of Rage or Final Fight. It's still a really great beat-em-up. After playing these 3 games, I would like to know what the plot for the original games was. It's just so strange that Jalico removed it from the North American release, and then had to shoehorn one in for the Peacekeepers. I'm guessing they had a good reason for it, or at the very least a business decision, like not wanting to pay for a translator or something like that, but it's just very weird. Anyway, that's going to wrap things up. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.